Well, the next thing that I want to do is I want to talk about overcast days. Now, I love shooting on overcast days. The reason why is because the light is soft, it's gentle, and my flashes don't have to work as hard. I don't have to overpower the sun because the light overall is dimmer, it's lower. So my flashes have an easier time. That means I can shoot more flashes per second. My batteries last longer. So I love overcast. The downside of overcast, though, is that visually it's not as appealing. There's something about the sun that humans respond to. We like the sun, that warmth, that feel, that kind of cut, the edge in photography. You don't get that on a cloudy day. So I think of cloudy day photography and with my flashes are what's adding the edge, the oomph, the charisma to the photograph, okay? So, yeah, all those things I just said. It's much lower contrast. A lot of times it doesn't matter if the subject is in the shade or they're underneath the tree, or they out in the field. Generally, the lighting is about the same. One of the things that we have to worry about, though, on an overcast day is the shadow underneath the eyes. Okay, a lot of times it's subtle, but it's significant. I call them raccoon eyes. The reason why we have to think about that is because the light is from overhead, and all of the light basically falls straight down on the subject. So in a second, we're going to turn on the house lights. I'm going to show you what this looks like. So your goal as a flash photographer is to fill in those shadows and create a nice spark in the eyes. So this is what we have here. This is Remy. He's one of our parkour athletes. Later on, we're going to show you guys, we did some sports and action photos with you guys doing flips in the air. But here he's just standing for me at Gasworks Park. Cloudy day. And in fact, we're in this kind of structure, so the light is even lower and dimmer, and he wasn't getting any catch lights in the eyes. He had a very dark shadow under his face. I threw in a softbox, and you can see now we've lit up underneath his eyes. I also processed this a little bit, made it just ever so slightly edgy, a little bit grungy, because that's kind of what he is. He's an urban athlete, and I thought that would look good for him. So let me show you a shoot here in the studio on how to deal with overcast days. Cool? All right, I need a different model. You'll do it? All right. Let's turn on the house lights again. The overhead fluorescence, and you're basically going to stand in the same spot, about right here.
What's in the dark?
In the dock. And I'm just going to move this away. Let's see. What I want to show now, I'm going to stand next to you.
Yeah, that's right.
And I just want to show that the light is all coming from overhead. Okay? It's coming from overhead. And if she looks up to the light, we fill in the shadows. But if she looks down straight, we start getting shadows underneath her eyes. And a lot of portraitists say, hey, I'm an available light photographer. And if you are, then you need to use a reflector to do it here I'm going to do with the flash. In fact, let me just show this real quick. Since I can, I'm instructing, so I can do this. So this is what we could do, is we could bring in the reflector here, put your head down just ever so slightly, yeah. And then as I bring this in, you can see it really illuminates her face. It's quite simple to get a nice look on a cloudy day with just a reflector. So that's the $30 solution. And then what I'm going to be looking at is if I stand over here, which actually I'm going to do, is go ahead and look at me. I'm now looking in her face to see if I'm getting catch lights in the eyes. Now here's the thing. The thing with the reflector, though, is the reflector has to be under her face, right? And that means the catch light's going to be low on the eye. And if you're a catch light nerd, a catch light junkie, kind of like I am, you don't want the only catch light to be down low. A lot of times you want the catch light to be up higher, kind of like in the 10 o'clock or the 2 o'clock position. Well, if it's a cloudy day and I want to reflect light onto her face, that means the light's got to be like up here. Well, that isn't going to work with the reflector because no light's bouncing off of it. So a reflector only gets you so far on a cloudy day. So let's get all the way with our flash. Cool? So on a cloudy day, it doesn't really matter the position of the subject. Subject can be here, there, sitting, standing. You don't have to worry about shade. sunshine, grassy field, because the light's coming equally everywhere. So really what I'm doing on a cloudy day is I'm just paying very close attention to the background. Does the background look good? Do I have some bridge in the background? Is that what I want? Or do I have flowers back there? In this case, the background is spectacular. We have this great panorama scene of blinds. So it's gorgeous. Gorgeous. Same thing as I did before. I want to take, just to be repetitive here, I'm going to build the exposure. So I like building my exposure by turning my flash off. So I can just do that with this little switch here on the camera. Turns my flash off. And since it's a cloudy day, I just want to probably include a little more light, and I want the background to be a little bit more vibrant. So that's a longer shutter speed. So I'm going to go to a 60th of a second, make that background nice and bright. And here we go. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Great. Let's look at that photo. Yeah, okay, so I can already tell we need, yeah, I'll tell you to smile next time. I can already see in this photo it's a little bit dingy, a little bit dark. Nothing to do with our beautiful model, but everything to do with me, the photographer. So I want to add a little bit more light. So how do we do that? Shutter speed, okay? So I'm going to add some more shutter speed. Well, now when I'm adding more shutter speed, what am I running up against? Because I'm currently at a 60th of a second. I'm running up against a blurry photo. So if I go down to a 30th, now I got to start thinking about turning on my lens vibration reduction or image stabilization. Maybe think about going to a tripod, something along those lines. But I'm going to risk it. I'm turning my VR on. Let's make sure that's active, and it is active. And again, this is a shot with no flash. Okay, this time you can smile. Oh, nice smile. Good job. And I think I was moving. Yeah, it's a little soft because I did that a little bit fast. But the point is I got it a little bit brighter, and I'm happy with that. And since I'm at a 30th of a second, and I'm feeling like I need even more light, my next option is ISO. So I'll bump up my ISO one more stop. And the cool thing about all of these modern cameras is you can shoot ISO 1600 all day long and still get fantastic images. So 1600, 3200, no problem. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Nice. All right, so now, so now the ambient light, I'm feeling good. Actually, that might be a little bright. I'm gonna end up dropping it down just a little bit, but I'm happy with where the ambient light is, the nice bright background. Okay, now I'm gonna add in the flash. So I'll turn this bugger on and wait till I got green light here on the camera and green light up here on the flash. And then I always do a visual check on the flash itself and make sure it says manual mode or TTL mode, and it currently says manual mode, so I'm happy about that. I'm going to position the light appropriately for her height, okay? I'm going to have you bring your right shoulder towards me a little bit. You can go ahead and rotate your feet. Yeah, great. And remember I said I kind of want that catch light to be in the 10 o'clock or the 2 o'clock position. So bring this down just a little bit. Yeah, that'll work. And I think the last thing we did, we were at 1/16th power. Yeah, 1/16th power. So we'll leave it there at 1/16th power. Okay, here we go. This one's for real. Make it count. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm always listening for that beep, making sure it fired. Oh, not good. So I never do that actually when the client's on set. I never go, oh, not good. I go, ha, let's make another shot with a little more adjustment. Okay, so what did I do? Well, I allowed a lot more ambient light into the camera, and I'm at 1/16th power. I also increased my ISO, so my settings are way different than before on the sunny day. So now I have to really reduce the power of the flash, and we'll do that right now. So I was at 1/16th power, and you can see from that example photo we just took, that was way too much. So I'm going to go down to probably a 64th power, and we'll probably end up even less than that, probably end up at a 128th power. Okay, so I hit OK. And we take that shot. This one's really, really for real. Okay, oh yeah, mo better. It's already looking better. And if I zoom in, I'll zoom in. This might be a little uncomfortable for you, but yeah, so we got a nice catch light kind of up in that 10 o'clock position. Fantastic. And as I fine tune, you know, I'm thinking it's still a little bright and then maybe the background's a little bright. So I'm gonna reduce my shutter speed. Increase my shutter speed. So I was at a 30th and now I'm gonna go, let's go to a 50th. And I'm gonna reduce that power again on my flash. I think the flash is still too bright. And we'll go 1/64 minus 2/3 of a stop. So that's almost to 1/128th power. So very little flash. Okay, here we go. 1, 2.5. Sweet. Much more natural. We still have the nice ambient light exposure for the background. And I've got a nice catch light in her eye. And the shot just looks natural. It doesn't look like flash was the predominant feature. You know, compared to, let's go back here a few pictures. You know, this was our starting point. Obviously, we got a problem. And then we kind of fixed the problem. But even that photo right there is still too bright, in my opinion. It's obvious flash was used. Until we get to this point, subtle, gentle, and kind. So, thank you. You get a high five as well. Fantastic. Okay, so Kenna, let's answer some questions on ambient light photography.
All right, well, we do have a number of questions coming in about glasses and reflections on glasses, using flash photography, and how to get rid of them, how to approach that.
Okay, glasses, perfect. So you saw in this example here, we've got reflections. Glasses are the bane of all photographers.
Yep.
So if the person that you're shooting doesn't, like if the glasses aren't a part of them, like if it's not part of their persona, their look, the easiest solution is take them off, okay? But people like me, like I don't wear contacts. And so if I saw a photo of me right now without glasses, it'd be like, that isn't me. So sometimes you have to live with it. Here's the thing. You know, take a shot, take a look. You'll hear me say that a lot. Take a shot. Do we have reflections? Yes, we do. So a little move, just a little tiny move from here to here can solve all of the issues. It's okay. If I go over here to the monitor, you see that we do have some reflection here up in this part of the glasses, but it's not blocking her eye, which is okay in my opinion. It's okay to have a little bit of reflection as long as it's not blocking the eyeball. I probably should have taken one more and have her turn her nose just a little bit, and then I've dealt with that. Another little tip I have for you is if you take the glasses and you just tilt them up like this, if they have longer hair, you won't see that in the final photo. And then when you look forward, it's hard to see that it's actually tilted. But what that does is it causes the reflection to go down towards the ground. So I actually like to tilt them up a little bit. And it works better with people with a little bit more hair, a little longer hair. And then the next thing is your lighting positioning. Positioning the lights a little bit higher for people with glasses can help prevent the reflection on the glasses. When the person doesn't have glasses, then the light can be lower because you don't have to worry about, the glasses reflection. So wind glasses, a little bit higher on the light. Yeah, great question.
I've noticed that the first two in-studio people were probably the extremes of skin colouring that you can possibly get.
Yes.
How much does that play into your flash power, or does it at all?
Yeah, so the fundamental aspect of our question is, hey, how do I expose differently for, let's say, Caucasian versus Latino versus African American, okay? And the truth is that the reflectivity of your skin is actually quite significantly different. So a Caucasian reflects 2 to 3 more stops of light 3 stops more light than an African American, than a really dark. I'm thinking like Seal, you know, the artist Seal, very dark skin, versus, I don't know, the artist Mike Hagan. You know, I never get outside, very pale and white. So how do we deal with that? Well, the truth is that the exposure for both races is about the same. The manual settings would be the same because you want the white skin to reflect more light. It's what it does. White skin does reflect more light than dark skin, okay? So the shot that I took of you of whatever that was, 1/64th power, will also work for Xavier at 1/64th power because naturally Xavier's skin reflects less light back to the camera, and we want it to be that way. So the way to think about flash photography is imagine the world, or imagine your subject as a gray card, and if you expose the gray card for gray, then everything else falls into place. So the white person, Caucasian person, is going to reflect more light naturally, fine, and the dark-skinned person is also going to reflect less light naturally, fine. So that said, sometimes, I'm hearkening back to this event that I shot. It's fresh in my memory because I shot it just 2 or 3 days ago. There was a guy that I shot. He was an ex-running back. He actually was a running back for Notre Dame, I think. Very dark-skinned guy. And I was photographing him, and then right after that, I went and photographed this lady who was a Caucasian gal. I actually had to add a little bit more light for the running back because he was absorbing a ton of light. And so the same exposure that normally would have worked for, how does this sound, a lighter-skinned black guy, didn't work for him because he was so dark. So sometimes I just had to add a little bit more. But be careful that you don't do too much. You don't want your black guys to be washed out. I mean, it's the skin color you want. So that was a lot of answer for a simple question. Just pay close attention. Does it look natural? I think that's the key. Does the reflecting back on the camera, does the reflectance from your flash look natural? If it doesn't, well, then it's so easy. Just add a little more flash or take a little away.
That kind of brought up an interesting thing because I shoot a lot of events too. And when you have two people of different skin tones, with post in consideration, is it better to use flash to lighter or darker skin tone? Or
yeah, so my rule of thumb is expose for the highlights, develop for the shadows. So what that means in real life is let's say a white guy and he's dating a black gal. So you want to expose it so the white guy's skin isn't blinking. So just kind of a little bit at the upper limit of the exposure. And then in Lightroom and Photoshop, I bring out the shadows. And so I'll use the shadow slider, or I'll use the brush tool, and I'll paint over the darker skin individual to bring them out of the shadows.